I'm greatly humbled to have been granted an opportunity to address this distinguished court. And I can see the membership is quite big. I had the opportunity of weighing in yesterday. I listened to the entire proceedings. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to address the court. I was called by people as far from London, informing me that the court was in dire need of my services. And as a people's servant and as a social engineer, I made it my obligation to appear before the court today so that I can be of use to the members of the court and so that I can be of use to the members of the public. Perhaps I need to mention that this is one of the most progressive approach or platform that is helping our people resolve most of the challenges that are existing in our society as of to date. Unfortunately, the situation that we find ourselves in as a country is a self-imposed or a self-created situation because it is we ourselves who decided to put into place this rogue administration. Having said so, it is therefore our obligation to make sure that we take it upon ourselves to remove from power through constitutional means this rogue administration. It's only a country that does not thrive and operate within the rule of law that can allow a person who has been accused of heinous crimes like of defilement and those other crimes that the pastor was facing, that can allow such a person to exist in the society without any sanctions being taken as against that person. When you see such kind of traits, what should ring into your mind is that the country has gone to the dogs and that the country has completely, the rule of law has completely broken down. When you see such kind of actions taking place, it should tell you and create a warning that we are on our own and that the regime that is in power at the moment cares not about the rule of law, cares not about the dignity of our constitution.
Wakili, we are losing you.
Our sovereignty.
Wakili, we are losing you. Repeat what you just said.
Sorry, someone was trying.
Okay, thank you. We didn't hear the last part.
Sorry, I say.
Thank you. Go ahead.
When
Your Honor, allow me to take the mic 1 minute before Wakili continues. I hope my network is okay.
Yes.
I can see members of the jury. Members of the jury are requesting that Wakili be invited on the platform with a lion. I am going to share the live with our lion kings, and one of them ideally should be able to bless Wakili. Wakili, this is a senior lawyer in Kenya, a very senior lawyer, Ndegwa Njiru. We cannot believe that you are here. We are so grateful. And members of the jury are very, very happy to have you here. Welcome and continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lady Justice.
At the same time, Wakili, at the same time, the lion is one of the best things. So if you are in a position to open the camera so that people may see who is talking and who is receiving the lion, as you address this highly respected court in the land or in globally, worldwide. Thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me try to call.
Go ahead, sir.
Continue addressing as I wait for him to appear. I had just mentioned that if you see, if you see such kind of things happening in this country, what should ring in your mind is that the country has gone to the dogs. It should tell you that we have a duty as a country to reclaim back our country. We have a duty as a citizen to reclaim back and rebuild and redeem this country. Some of us are committed towards that cause. of making sure that we restore this country back to the path of the rule of law. The substantive issue that is ailing this country, it's this idea of utadu. You know, people have come to a conclusion that they think there is no one who can take actions as against them. Why? Because the current regime, led by Mr. William Ruto Kasongo, has made it its duty to mutilate our constitution, to mutilate our laws, to mutilate and frustrate our constitutional institutions, so that there is nobody who is going to be left to call this regime to order. They first began by mutilating our parliament. Our parliament became a moribund. It became a praise and worship parliament. It negated its duties of representing the people, offering oversight to the executive and legislating. It is important for us to understand those three principles: legislation, oversight, and representation. Why are we here where we are? We are here where we are because the institutions in this country have been watered down by Mr. William Ruto. We are here where we are because Mr. William Ruto wants to remain as the only person or as the only most important thing or individual in this country. We are where we are because Mr. William Ruto has taken it as his duty to make sure that no one else is heard speaking or executing their constitutional functions other than Mr. William Ruto. Why do I say so? We began this journey last year when we realized that our country has gone to the dogs. We took the streets, and Kasongo responded with fire, responded with water cannons, responded with tear gas, responded with bullets, instead of him asking himself, why are my people rebelling against me? It is akin to what happened in 1776 in the French Revolution, when the Queen Marie Antoinette heard that the people were revolting against King Louis XVI. Instead of her asking why people were revolting and addressing the plight of the people, she responded in a contemptuous way by telling the people, if you cannot afford to eat bread, go and buy cakes. That is exactly what Kasongo is doing to us today. Instead of him responding to our plight, he is becoming arrogant, is becoming unruly, is becoming abusive, he is becoming contemptuous on us. You know, he has lost all the tenets of a people's servant. And that is why we have therefore decided, and that's why you can see this court is in existence today, to exercise our power and our sovereignty to directly challenge Kasongo. To tell Kasongo, even where you think that you're going to mutilate our constitution, even where you think you're going to mutilate our institutions, we the people shall directly exercise our power to challenge your actions, to challenge your conduct, and to make sure that we hold you to account. For example, how is it possible that one individual can take 20 million Kenyan shilling and give it to an individual? We all know that Kasongo's salary per month is 1.4 million. How was he able to accumulate 20 million from his savings so that he can have enough even to award to these pastors? It tells you that whatever Kasongo was dealing with on Sunday are suspected proceeds of crime. And then how can we then be convinced to keep quiet, watch, and stare when an individual who appears in the name of a president trades or gifts proceed of crimes to a Kenyan. It is our responsibility to call that individual to order. And therefore, what should we do as a people? As a people, we must rise up and stand up to be counted. I draw a lot of lessons from Daniel in the Bible. When Daniel was called upon by King Nebuchadnezzar to eat the food that the king had prepared, he stood to his ground and said, I am not ready to defile myself with the king's food. I refuse to feed this food. And subsequently, he was thrown to the den of lions. That is a similar situation we find ourselves in. There must be men and women who are going to rise up and say, we are not going to feed from the king's defiled foods. We are not going to be bribed to keep quiet. We are not going to be given jobs to silence us. We are not going to be intimidated to silence us. Even if you abduct us, you abduct my neighbor, you abduct my relatives, the rest of us who are going to remain must make sure that they speak from the loudest voice that we are not going to defile ourselves with the fins and the foods coming from the Kasongos dining. That is a duty of a citizen. It's a solemn duty that we can have at the moment so that we can reclaim and redeem our country. Kasongo wants to silence us. That is why he has taken intimidation, threats, extrajudicial killings, and abduction as a means and as a ways of trying to silence us. Because he thought that by compromising parliament to keep quiet and sing its tune, that he would have mutilated its ability to oversight his deeds. However, he has realized that there has come an alternative voice of reason that is holding him to account for each and every deed that he undertakes. You might want to ask yourself, why are the members of parliament silent? Why would they not hold Kasongo to account to tell us, where did you get these 20 million shillings from? If the parliament doesn't do so, we shall exercise our power under Article 1 to make sure that we hold these individuals to account. Therefore, fellow comrades, my submissions as I pen off is to encourage you to continue doing what you are doing. You are doing the Lord's works. It is we who are going to remain. Again, I implore you to read the speech by Martin Luther King, I Have Been to the Mountain. When he was addressing the janitors from the state of Memphis, he made a very interesting observation from the Bible. He drew the attention of the Memphis janitors to the story of the Good Samaritan. And he was asking, and he gave them the analogy that when the robbers clobbered and beat that man, before the Good Samaritan came to rescue him, the Pharisees had passed by. They watched him as he bled. They watched him lying on the ground, but they could not lay a finger and touch or raise to help him because they were in a hurry to go and worship in the synagogue. When the high priest also passed by, he saw the man lying on the ground, but could not help him because he was busy to go and offer sacrifices. When the Sadducees and the Pharisees also passed, they could not touch and help the man because they were in a hurry to go and read the Mosaic law. But there came a Good Samaritan who said, the Pharisees have passed, the high priest has passed him, the chief priest has also passed this man, and they have not helped him. Who is going to help this man if I do not take this opportunity and this responsibility? Is a high calling that we are being called upon. We, the Good Samaritans, if we do not rescue this country, if we do not take opportunity to rescue this country, who is going to take the opportunity of doing it? And therefore, you should not be intimidated. You should not be harassed. You should not feel like you're not doing the right thing. You are doing the right thing in God's kingdom. Let us all rise up. Let us speak. Those who can speak, let us speak. Those who can write, let us write. Those who can represent people in courts, let us rise up and represent those people. Those who can scream to the highest voice that things are not right in this country, let us do it. At least our voice is going to save a life. For example, how comes that we can live in a country where we are being taxed in the SHA scheme and the money is going to an individual's account? And when the Auditor General raises such kind of a patent issue, this guy from Sugoi, instead of responding to this issue, he's saying that wale watu ambao wanakasirika,
I'm dropping, thank you.
Wale watu wanaokasirika ni wale watu walikuwa wana benefit from NHIF. He can't even feel ashamed to say that those of us who are opposed to the scheme that is a death trap for our people, we are complaining because we're not able to benefit from it.
Thank you very much, Senior Wakili Ndegwa Njiru. Now, I want us to go back to the main topic of this. That's our wise words. A lot of education there. We have to occupy. We have to do everything. But we have a very serious case here. That's why we called you here, of one Bishop Peter Kimemia, or Peter K. Now, I want you to guza juu. I want you to tackle that according to the law and what we should go, if you can advise this court. Thank you very much, Wakili. Go ahead.
I beg to be slightly briefed as to where the matter is, so that I can weigh in with an advice, if you don't mind, my lord.
Very much, Wakili Ndegwa. Now, Madam Prosecutor has everything. If she can open microphone and at least brief you briefly, thank you, so that we can remain on track. Thank you.
Thank you, my lordship. Senior Counsel, Wakili Ndegwa, we have a very serious case of a very organized ring of I should actually call it a gang of men that are defiling and raping other men. I cannot use a better word than that, but it is an organized gang.
A better word, I will help you, my able prosecutor, Madam Prosecutor. It's called web.
Yes. So it is a web, a very complex web of men actually doing the most atrocious things to other men. We have just presented evidence today in court. We presented a van that actually is literally brought to the scene of the crime by another man in order for a man to be taken advantage of, to be dragged and then taken advantage of. We've actually presented that in court today, Your Honor. And it's really terrible that we are living in a country where, you know, these men are the ones on the pulpit preaching God's word, you know, and then within the same churches, they are taking advantage of young boys and men. And then they're being covered by other men, you know. So it is so complex. We have so many men who have become victims of this particular fella. His name is Peter K. He calls himself a prophet. We did occupy his church, one of his churches, on Sunday. We made national news. And then, so we are occupying yet another church this coming Sunday. But the main thing, the reason we needed you was we needed representation in court. We do have all of the evidence, and we wanted that by the time we are going to arrest him, you have actually gone through everything that we've got. You have spoken to the victims that we have, and then so that the arrest becomes successful and airtight. Senior Counsel, I do know that we already got what you call media coverage. It happened by surprise. We were quite surprised when all the media houses were broadcasting our stomp into Peter K's church on Sunday. However, we don't believe that we need more publicity for this case. So when I land tomorrow in Nairobi, I do believe we can talk about other means of giving this case the publicity that it requires. So otherwise, you can take the mic and advise us on the way forward. Our victims are here. Some of them, in fact, one of the victims, let me tell you, today he has been bleeding so much because he had to have surgery, corrective surgery, you know, on his I will use the right word, I don't have another word, anus. So that entire area had to be repaired because this man really mutilated another man. It was terrible, totally grotesque. So yesterday he did a lot of moving around. He was at the DCI headquarters, taking this there, taking that. He was literally gathering everything that he required, you know, for when the case begins. So today, he has told me he's not eaten for 3 days because these men now cannot even work. They have no means of getting food. And that's why when I came to this live, the first thing I told our people, please remember the victims. You know, remember the victims because they do not have money for food because they can no longer work. You know, they've become so immobilized that they cannot do anything. But this man, today, he's been bleeding, Senior Counsel Ndegwa. He's been bleeding severely. And it's very sad what these men are going through. Take the mic. Guys, let us occupy in the comments. Let's occupy. Let's occupy. We must find justice for this man. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor, and my lords, in appearing in these proceedings. It's quite unfortunate that such kind of a thing would be happening in Kenya during our lifetime. But all this is happening again because of the issue I raised, the blatant breakdown of the rule of law and the withering down of our penal justice institutions. It's my hope and belief that these individuals have recorded their complaint with the relevant institutions, in this case being the DCI.
Yes,
so that
they have.
The DCI therefore can commence the requisite investigations with an idea, if they reveal the existence of a crime, then subsequent actions of having this person charged can ensue. Remember, a criminal proceeding must be backed or must be grounded on credible investigations. So those individuals who have unfortunately been defiled, it is important that they first of all record their statements. Number two, we are saying that we want to be a country that cherishes the rule of law, a country that is guided by the Constitution, a country and a people who abides by the Constitution. It is on that basis, my lords and Madam Prosecutor, that I submit that our Constitution presumes our innocence until we are proven guilty. It is on that basis that we need to engage the requisite penal justice systems so that this culprit can be brought to books and he be granted an opportunity to also defend himself before the court of law. It would be much of help to the victims if we would facilitate and assist them to access the DCI office with an objective of recording their complaint, subsequent to which the office of the ODPP take over and have this individual charged. It's upon the DPP charging these individuals that therefore we can appear and represent the victims' views in the proceedings through a process called watching brief for the victims, where if the DPP succeeds in nailing down this culprit through tendering the requisite necessary evidence, then at the fullness of time, then the victims can seek for monetary compensation under what we call the Victim Protection Act. Our law allows the compensation or the restitution of a victim of a crime. Previously, a victim of crime would never be compensated, or he would never be reinstated to the status he would have been if he never suffered that, or another, if he was never a victim of that act. But fortunately, with the enactment of the new constitution, a victim can seek for compensation in a criminal case. So to be fair to the victims and to be fair to the suspect, we must allow the penal justice system to take its course. The noise that we are making is quite relevant, quite important, because it is calling those institutions to order. We must continue making this noise with a view or with an idea that it's only a court of law that will help us resolve that legal impasse. So, Madam Prosecutor, my lords, is my humble submissions that we assist these individuals to record their complaint with the police. Then we follow up to see whether the file has been forwarded to the DPP for its recommendation and whether the DPP has recommended the charging of these individuals. But perhaps mention that under Article 157 of our Constitution, that creates the office of the ODPP. The ODPP, having taken cognizance of a public interest matter such as this one, is mandated by the Constitution to instruct the IG to carry out investigations. I have not seen it. I have not heard from the DPP. I have not seen the ODPP writing to the IG to ask him to commence investigations, since this is a matter of serious and grievous public interest. The other alternative is to write the ODPP and Article 157 asking him to authorize the Inspector General to carry out and expedite the investigations in respect to this case. I think that's all I need to say in respect to that particular issue, Madam Prosecutor, my lords, and I beg to rest.
Wakili Ndegwa. Now, here in TICC, we have a panel of senior counsels, and I will start with Peter Kiarie to at least ask 2 or 1 question. Go ahead, Senior Counsel Peter Kiarie.
Okay, thank you so much, Your Honor. Welcome, Wakili. And in this matter, I have listened to you very well. I wish you to highlight on this point. Now that there is a court order that directs that Peter K to be arrested, how do we go about that? Thank you.
My lords, I did not get my learned friend Mr. Kiarie to say that the court has issued an order for the arrest, because most practically or ordinarily, the courts of law being the grounds where the arbitration of the dispute normally takes place, they oftenly refrain from getting to the arena of the dispute that they will be called upon in the future to resolve. So unless I get to see that order, I may not have the full facts of commenting on it, and I would not wish to mislead the court and the jury as to that position. However, if I would be served and have a glance of that court order, I'll be sufficiently informed to address the court and give it a clear position as to the consequences of such an order. I rest.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Wakili Ndegwa. Now I will give another senior counsel to ask you one question, and that senior counsel is called by the name Truth Watchdog. Approach the bench.
Thank you so much, my lords and my lordships. Wakili Ndegwa Njiru, I think what Councillor or Senior Counsel Peter Kiarie is trying to tell you is that we have a specific case of one individual of whom it was reported around 2 years ago and has not been addressed. So upon following this matter with the Ruiru police station, it was asked that we need to know if this individual reported the case to the police station, and of course it was provided. And I think yesterday, if not the day before yesterday, it is when there was an order that was actually directing the arrest of this person. So I don't think it is the court, or I don't know whether it is the court or it is just within the police jurisdiction that has ordered this arrest. So that's why we are asking, what's the way forward?
Has he been arrested?
Not yet. He's in the hiding as we speak.
Oh, I think what we can do, if there's been such a directive, is to allow the relevant authority to execute that particular function. Reason being, we as private citizens, if we get to spot that individuals, we have the power to arrest and subsequently hand over that individual to the relevant authority. So we can exercise our power of private citizen arrest if the guy has gone at large. Alternatively, if the matter is reported before the police officer, and if we write the ODPP asking him to prosecute this individual, and if the ODPP fails to prosecute this individual, the law allows us to initiate private citizen prosecution. So we shall give them some time, of course applying the necessary pressure. In the event they fail to prosecute, then there's nothing that stops us from taking the responsibility of the ODPP and prosecuting this individual. So let's see what will come out of those directives, and of course they must be within the police force or from the office of the ODPP, so that then if the arrest is done, then well, good for us. We know that the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to court. If the arrest is not done, then we know we are in trouble. We must then initiate the next level of private prosecution. Thank you.
Your
Thank you,
Honor,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Ndegwa. Thank you,
I beg to have a question.
Senior Counsel Peter Kiarie in the court, please. Thank you very much, Ndegwa, for answering that. Now, Senior Counsel Peter Kiarie has another question, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Your Honor. Thank you.
Wakili Ndegwa Njiru, I have a request, and this request comes from the public, and this comes just after 2 years where the case was reported, and this comes to a public outcry that right now we have no lawyer to present us there, because one thing we know that it's expensive to hire a lawyer, and especially a lawyer of your class. So could you kindly, or would you kindly take this case and act as a pro bono for this matter, because it is due to public outcry, and this James has no money actually to pay for a lawyer as right now, so he cannot get justice just because the other party can pay for lawyers. Would you take this from us? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. Thank you, my lords. I must say that one duty of a lawyer is to the society is the duty to the fidelity to the law. Number two, we have a duty towards our society to make sure that the rule of law thrives in all spheres and aspects. I have done so many pro bono cases, especially since Kasongo came into power, and therefore this would not be an exception. But I need to be properly briefed. I need to meet the victim. I need the victim to brief me sufficiently so that then we can accompany the victim to the DCI office, be it the DCI headquarters at Mazingira House along Kiambu Road, or be it at the regional offices, or whichever DCI office, so that we can have this matter taken over by the relevant authority. But as we do so, we, the people agitating, must also remain within the confinements of the law. We must not allow ourselves to take the law into our hands when we have established.
Senior Counsel, I will interrupt you. Allow me to. Thank you. We can pay. Let us just agree or disagree on whether we will indeed pay for the services of Senior Counsel Ndegwa Njiru. So I need at least 2,000 people responding. So the minute the poll comes up, press the smiley face for yes, we shall pay. Thank you. Or the sad face for we want it free, because we want justice, and justice is expensive.
Madam Prosecutor, if you may allow me to weigh in. I would suggest
you will allow just 1 minute so the public participate, and then you can continue. You can proceed. Yeah, you can proceed after that, Senior Counsel. Thank you so much. Thank you, members of the jury. The public, 1.2K of you say, yes, we will pay. So Senior Counsel Wakili Ndegwa, kindly do not consider the pro bono request. Please talk knowing that we want to pay for your services. We do want to pay for your services. So kindly just tell us how we go about this. We want you to represent us in court. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor, and I'm grateful for the good gesture from my brothers and sisters. But I would rather say that considering the situation that we find ourselves in, would better appropriate the fee that is being raised for me towards the upkeep of the victims, and allow me and my colleagues that I'll mobilize to offer our services on an agreement of pro bono basis, so that therefore my
Makofi guys, Makofi. Thank you. There you go. Chukua microphone moja kwa moja. Wakili Ndegwa, masaa 25. No resting. Don't rest. Go ahead.
So that my ladies, my lords, we may also have our contribution in the society. Remember, a lawyer is a social engineer. Our work is to fix the social evils and the vices happening in our society. So contributing our services towards these victims is not too much to ask. And please facilitate and ensure that we have individuals I can contact to help me meet these victims, and we craft a strategy on how to go about this whole process. So I am again humbled and greatly honored by the good gesture and the suggestion, but permit me to offer my services for free. I would not like that will that will not make me or reduce the portion of ugali that is always placed on my desk or my table, or a glass of water or milk. We have done it before. Let us help these individuals so that we can show our people that it's not everything about money. It also goes to how much do you believe that we need to live in a society that is governed by the principles of the rule of law, morality, and well-being of Ubuntu. So in the spirit of Ubuntu,
Okay, let's go.
and if you may allow me, perhaps.
Thank you. Wakili, welcome to TikTok. Welcome to the TikTok High Court. Welcome. That was a big welcome from one of us. We are so grateful. We are so grateful to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
To be able to move on, I'll share my number if someone drops me a message with so that you can contact me perhaps tomorrow in the afternoon, and we come up with a strategy on how to go about that particular issue so that we can bring the matter to rest and make sure that those individuals are brought to books. We must not allow our country to go to the dogs. If you're not able to fix this small vice, how shall we fix the big ones? Thank you, ladies. Thank you, my ladies, my lords. Thank you, members of the jury. If you allow me, perhaps I would beg to retire. I have a busy day tomorrow at Kibera Law Courts.
Wakili, the Lion Kings have just arrived. That was the equivalent of a lion. We just ask that you mute for a bit more. Maybe they still want to bless you because you're a good man. Thank you so much. Comment section are insisting that you wait for the lion. The space shuttle was to take you all the way to space because you're a good man, and the lion will be for you to keep. Hopefully it will come. I shared with all our Lion Kings. That is one of them that I shared with, and it seems they are only just arriving. Thank you, Wakili. I am members of the public. Chukweni Mike Wadau.
Before the juries and members, the senior counsels, I want to thank you, Mr. Wakili Ndegwa Njiru, for doing that noble thing, for offering your services for free of charge. And again, Lady Jacqueline, Madam Prosecutor, who is Lady Jacqueline, the Madam Prosecutor, she's going to meet you maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Thank you.
Yes, I will. And it will be a big procession of people. All this.
Thank you. I'll be waiting.
Ralph, can I say something?
Proper title, I'm Judge Ralph Zidadi.
Judge Ralph Zidadi, can I say something, please?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. I'd like to thank you, Bono Wakili, for the gesture. And this has absolutely brought joy to my heart because I'm sure the victims now feel protected and they feel that there are people who are backing them up. I'd also like to thank this court for also bringing this matter to attention, because if they had not pushed it as far as they did, then obviously the public would not have known what is going on. It is quite unfortunate that those who our young people look up to for advice are also abusing them and taking advantage of them by deceiving them and, abusing sexually, or rather using them sexually. The victims must be protected at all costs. And I thank you very much for agreeing to do this for us, for the public, for free. Thank you so much and have a good night.
Thank you, Esther. God bless you. I've been reminded that I should inform Wakili Ndegwa that those gifts coming to him are actually equivalent of money. So they're the actual money in your pocket, Wakili. So if there is a special app that was ever designed, it is TikTok. It has some of the biggest asante ever made. So feel at home, relax. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Prosecutor and my lordships, if you allow me to represent the jury to say a proper law language to this one Wakili for accepting our invitation, may I proceed, Your Honor, my lord?
Yes, please go. Go on, Senior Counsel to Watchdog.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the jury, this court is profoundly honored by the distinguished presence of Senior Lawyer Ndegwa Njiru, whose towering legal acumen and forensic prowess illuminates solemn proceedings. His gracious acceptance of our invitation is a testament to those village courts, to his unwavering fidelity to the noble calling of justice. In lending his learned hand to this cause before us, he fortifies and citadel our jurisprudence and exemplifies the highest ideas of legal fraternity. I know village people from the other courts do not understand. His gracious advocacy and audit submission shall no doubt serve as a ladder in our inexorable pursuit of truth, equality, and vindication of the rule of law. I thank you so much, Your Honor, for accepting our invitation. Thank you. That is on behalf of the jury.
Much as Senior Counsel to Watchdog for that illuminating and a very eloquent law language. Thank you very much. Now we go back to Madam Prosecutor. Take over.
Yes, Your Honor, I do believe Engineer Dees has not spoken at all before we close, or before we come to some form of conclusion. Engineer Dees.
Madam Prosecutor, my lords, kindly allow me to leave. I'll be glad to join you tomorrow once again and to be able to brief the court on the progress of the court. I beg to rest my case.
Thank you very much, Wakili Ndegwa. Good night and have a wonderful night. We appreciate you. We appreciate the good work that you've done, the noble thing that you just started. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wakili Ndegwa, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. And yeah, you've really surprised us. We are so grateful. We are so humbled. May God bless you. May God bless you. And good night. Good night.
And please make sure that I am contacted tomorrow so that we can begin this process.
Yes, we will. We will contact you. Yes.
You can drop me a message. If you call me and you find that I'm not picking, just drop me a message. I'll get back.
No worries. Thank you so much. Thank you. And God bless you.
God bless.
Okay. Wow.